six-pack Lapadat, and we got Carola Garra back and introduce your translator and the gentleman that you have with you.
Ciao a tutti, siamo qui oggi, mi aiuterà Francesco, che è il mio ragazzo e anche, diciamo, fa parte dei miei allenatori, diciamo, collabora con il mio allenatore e mi aiuterà a tradurre un po' per parlare meglio in inglese.
So I guess I'm gonna introduce myself. So I'm Francesco, I'm her boyfriend, and I'm, let's say, part of her team. Technical preparation team, and today I'm gonna be translating the best I can, I hope.
No, I'm sure you'll be all right. I remember you last time. So you've been around, I mean, you've seen all this, all the changes, you've been through all the, and I see you in her videos. So when you say you're part of the technical help, do you, in what aspect? Is it like training or is it actually like programming and whatnot? Who programs coaching wise for Carola?
Rispondo io. Antonio Contenta is her coach. Let's say he's our coach since the
beginning.
Since the beginning, and we grew up together, let's say, and then we started cooperating. In this case, for Carola, I'm her boyfriend too, so we kind of live together, and I have the opportunity to do stuff, training and technical things about the lifts, and also the decisions you take when you have to go through a path of an international career like she has to do. And so we all together we're trying to do her best and do stuff.
And when she's in equipment as well, probably helps a lot to have somebody around to help wrap knees, get in the suits, the bench press shirts, and all the rest of it as well.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So if we talk equipped, yes, for sure. But there's help needed also in classic, not in the same way, but it's needed.
Carola, when you left classic to go equipped, but why was that? Because in 2019, for anyone who's maybe new to the sport, you won in Sweden. Sam Calhoun, Lya Bavoil, but we didn't really know who Lya Bavoil was yet, but we all knew who Sam Calhoun was. It's always a stacked division, the 63 class. So you're the world champion, and then you decided, then Sheffield came around, and we all know what happened with that Sheffield. And then after that, you decided to go the equipped route. Why did you decide to go equipped?
In realtà non è stata una decisione del tipo lascio il classic e comincio a fare, comunque faccio principalmente l'equipped. Sono stata una serie di eventi ravvicinati, cioè Sheffield è saltato per colpa del Covid, dopodiché il primo mondiale che si è fatto nuovamente dopo il 2019 è stato nel 2021, a cui io avrei dovuto partecipare, ma circa 4 settimane prima ho avuto un brutto infortunio al femorale e quindi ho dovuto rinunciare. Dopodiché invece c'erano, l'obiettivo principale è diventato fare i World Games, che erano appunto attrezzati, e di conseguenza il mondiale successivo l'ho saltato perché era un mese prima dei World Games. Quindi diciamo che l'intenzione non è mai stata lasciare il Classic, ma purtroppo ogni anno c'è stato un evento che mi ha fatto saltare il mondiale, se vogliamo dire così.
It was not about quitting or leaving Classic behind. It was more about, the pandemic, then the injuries. So, 2021 injury, 2019 before Sheffield was the pandemic, as you know, and then she had to qualify for the World Games. So we had to do equipped, as it was, and it is really important for us to do well in equipped too. And it is what it is, you know. She's never stopped training for classic. It was just time and place to do worlds was not enough.
And she's won world championships now on classic and equipped and the world games. So her resume is very, very deep. Comparing the two, if we were to do a comparison, because now Carola has the opportunity, she's competed back in 2019, and a lot has changed since then. So comparing 2019 to 2023, you know, I was talking to people about how like the feel of this world championships, it's so much bigger. This worlds was huge. The amount of lifters there, the crowd was so deep. It's on Eurosport. The amount of even the IPF, SBD, you know, Eurosport in white lights media, taking all of these videos, interviews, and all the different Instagram channels, YouTube channels. There's so much more video and content created from these world championships. It feels different. In 2019, you could win, say thank you and leave. 2023, you win, you'll have 3 or 4 people wanting interviews. You like, I'm looking for people for the IPF to do interviews for the IPF. And they're like, oh, they're with SBD doing an interview. Oh, they're with like Powerlifting America doing an interview. Oh, and it's like, whoa, this is new. You know, and of course, like Eurosport's there, and they're doing also like videos with you know, Lya, Jessica Bittner stuff. So things have changed since 2019. So if she could compare her experiences, did she feel that difference showing up to 2023 worlds and being like, wow, this is different. this is a whole lot different than it used to be.
Mi ha chiesto se ho sentito la differenza. Sì, diciamo che sono mancata da quel mondo lì per 4 anni, perché poi le gare attrezzate chiaramente c'è molto meno, nelle gare equipped c'è molto meno di tutto questo. Anche lì le cose si stanno un po' evolvendo, ma chiaramente non ci sono le interviste di SBD, dell'IPF, o quantomeno per ora, e quindi le cose sono cambiate tantissimo, e la percezione che si ha cioè si percepisce tanto questa cosa. Cioè nel 2019 mi ricordo che siamo arrivati, siamo stati un paio di giorni, abbiamo fatto la cena tra noi e siamo andati via. E quest'anno invece sì, l'atmosfera è molto più coinvolgente. Di questo.
She said it's really different. It's crystal clear the difference between 2019 and now, and the difference between classic and equipped. So absolutely huge event, like you said, and thanks to your work, in my opinion, your work has been crucial to me. And the difference, she was telling a story about 2019. We went there in Sweden, and we stayed 2 days. Did the competition, and then we went you know, eating something at night, and then came back home. And this time was really amazing. We ended up you know, doing the interview with SBD at midnight or something. Without eating anything since lunch, and it was it was really hard, but really good. And che altro avevi detto? That's it.
Yeah, it's now it's like part of media for other athletes in other sports. Media and competing goes hand in hand. I'm from North America, so our big sports are like basketball, hockey, American football, right? Baseball. And they're used to, after every single game, sit down media. leading into games or championships, media. But for a long time, powerlifting wasn't big enough to have a lot of media, right? It was you might do a King of Lifts podcast, but not, not a whole lot. And this is an indication of the growth of our sport, I think, when there's so much media. And what helps with this, although it's like you said, it's not always the funnest because it could be like at midnight or whatever. It's kind of like a rush. But on the flip side, when the media assets go out, because there's so much different media that's going out, more people are seeing this all over the world. And this is how we get more people involved with powerlifting. And it's growing exponentially. How much bigger is powerlifting in Italy now than when Carola first started?
Non c'è un'unità di misura, quasi non so quantificarlo, quanto è cresciuto. Per fare un piccolo esempio, io la prima gara che ho fatto Classic è stata nel 2015 e nella meno 63 in tutto, tra tutte le età, quindi junior, senior, sub junior, eccetera, eravamo forse 15. Adesso per fare la meno 93 kg uomini senior sono 10 gruppi, servono 3 giorni di gara.
She said you basically can tell how huge the difference is since when she started out in 2015. She said they were like 15 people in the 63 class.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And now today we have to make 3 days of competitions only for the 93 kilo class. It's 10 groups and it's just one country. Yeah.
only senior 93 class, 10 groups.
The open 93, and we also have the juniors and sub juniors and obviously masters, but it's a different thing.
Huge. So powerlifting in Italy is so much bigger right now. I mean, you see it at the world level. How many more, like just in 63s, Chiara Bernardi, Sarah moved up, but it was stacked, and you're like, wow, Italy's got some good lifters, but I didn't know it was that many. Holy smokes. So this is huge growth. What do you think, Carola, is the reason why powerlifting has expanded so much in Italy?
Credo che tutto il movimento che si è creato intorno, quindi chiaramente il fatto che si sia tanto diffuso sui social, il fatto che il livello sia aumentato, cioè nel momento in cui ci sono 1, 2, inizialmente 3 persone che riescono ad ottenere ottimi risultati all'estero, chiaramente questo genera movimento anche a livello nazionale, quindi diciamo che ti mostri, cioè ti stai lì, fai bene le gare, vinci e la gente ti guarda e si appassiona a fare questa cosa. Inoltre in Italia c'è anche un grosso movimento per quanto riguarda la parte di allenamento, quindi dei coach, di conseguenza poi si allarga il bacino d'utenza, si diventa più bravi anche ad allenarsi e si ottengono sempre più risultati positivi e i risultati positivi aumentano, è come se un po' si autoalimentassero, no? Perché poi le persone sono spinte a fare di più, cioè magari hanno un numero in testa sempre più grande e sono spinte a fare di più, a fare meglio.
She said at that time we had only a few really, really high level lifters, and then they became 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 people, and now we have a lot comparing to years ago. You compete, you do well, you win in your country, and then you go abroad and you do good things. It's a good, beautiful experience to me, and it's something you can show other people, so other people can see what you do and get interested in powerlifting for sure. And then she talked about the coaching and the, let's say, come potremmo chiamare?
Corso.
Yeah, courses system in our country. So a lot of people wanting to know about coaching and how to program and get better and know how to, you know, deal with clients too. And that's growing. So it's something which has grown for, yeah, on social media and on the national environment for coaches, for athletes, for media, for a lot of things. And it's really, it's amazing. Progress is amazing.
Yeah, it's we'd seen this with some other nations. Like obviously France kind of got so big so quick, right? With so many different like lifters and whatnot. And it kind of, but we've seen it in other nations as well. New Zealand's now has a lot of world champions. Excuse me. And oftentimes it's kind of like Carola had said, where you have a couple people win and they get a lot of, now especially with all the media we have, they get media attention and they're all over you know, like online and whatnot. And if you're in the gym and you're online looking, you can find them, and then you're like, oh, that sounds good, I want to give a shot at that, they're from my nation. And then with coaching, the information is being passed from one nation to the other now due to online, so it helps everyone rise. What's the difference between classic worlds and equipped worlds in terms of hype, in terms of attention, in terms of hype? Does she feel is equipped world slightly less media, less attention than classic?
Ok, sicuramente tutta l'attenzione che c'è intorno è chiaramente molto diversa. Diciamo che l'attrezzato è come se fosse un po' più intimo, c'è molta meno, sì, c'è molto meno persone che si interessano di quello che fai, però chiaramente quando per te quella cosa lì ha la stessa importanza dal punto di vista di valore, di diciamo tutto quello che investi, no? Nel fare quella cosa, quindi nell'allenamento equipped, nell'allenamento classic, di classic e di conseguenza poi nelle gare, diciamo che per te ha più o meno lo stesso valore, cioè la gara attrezzata non ha meno importanza. Tutto il contorno è chiaramente molto diverso, però la tensione che si crea per me personalmente non è inferiore.
So she said that's basically clear that at Classic Worlds you have a much bigger hype and a much bigger, you know, like audience. It's really, it's way smaller for Equipped Worlds, and when you go there you can feel it's more intimate somehow. But as an athlete, she said there's no big difference between the two. She's working hard for Classic Worlds, but she is working hard for Equipped Worlds and the World Games, and you know, it's all the same thing, done in the same way. And now you're probably only on a bigger stage for Classic.
Yeah, for sure. And does she feel as though because she left Classic for Equipped for a little while, some people might have forgot about Carola Garra, and this was almost like a reminder? I know like the hardcores like myself obviously remember who she was, and followed her journey into the Classic. But does she think some people might have forgot and maybe didn't fully realize her potential because she hadn't competed uninjured because she had some injuries she was dealing with in the Classic? Because we all knew she was good, but I think for some people, they were shocked her total that she put up at the World Championships as a 63 right there.
Sì, credo che sia normale che le persone tendono a dimenticarsi, non voglio dire in fretta, però è chiaro che se ogni anno metti dei risultati, chiaramente sei sempre sul pezzo, quindi le persone tendono a seguirti. Quando poi invece scompari dalla scena, è normale, è fisiologico che le persone tendono a dimenticarsi magari quello che hai fatto o comunque a non seguire con attenzione quello che invece potresti fare. È normalissimo, diciamo che chiaramente lo metti in conto. Quando hai degli obiettivi precisi nella testa, chiari nella testa, ti dai anche tempo di fare le cose, quindi sai che quei 2 anni sono destinati a fare le gare equipped e che poi avrai modo di tornare.
She said it's normal for people to forget, let's say, If you're not on the world stage for years, it's normal, because a lot of people maybe are not huge fans of the sport, only maybe a little bit. You can, for instance, see your contents. Okay, so they could be only, I wouldn't say enthusiasts, but fans. They enjoy watching some content about powerlifting, and they do. But that's normal, that they don't know who Carola is, or who she could be in a 4-year time, in 4-year time since last Worlds. And che altro avevi detto poi?
Che comunque quando c'hai in mente le cose che devi fare, sai che c'è un tempo per fare una cosa e che poi ce ne sarà un altro per tornare a fare quello che facevi prima, magari.
So as an athlete, she said, it takes time. If it takes 2 years to come back from an injury or a strange situation like the pandemic, which was pretty strange, and you just do that. It's not easy. It's not easy. You have to deal with that, but you do that.
So, I mean, anyone who didn't know her before knows her now. That's for sure. She left an impression. And just if she'd hit her last bench press, it would have been 560 for her total, which is monstrous. That's a massive total for the 63 kilo class. I think she shocked a lot of people. What she did as a 63, breaking the world record, Lya Bavoil's world record, no less. And it really sent the signal. If anyone didn't know, now they know. When she was in-equipped and watching, she's in the World Games, the World Championships equipped, and she's watching Sheffield and she's watching these events happen. Was she telling herself, oh, I got to come back. I got to be a part of this. I got to be a part of the Classic Worlds. I want to go back to Sheffield. Was these some of the goals that helped bring her back? And what were her thoughts when she watched Sheffield happen?
Mi ha chiesto se mentre non ci sono stata e guardavo le gare, se mi ha motivato.
Sheffield, non specifico.
Ok, sì, chiaramente è chiaro che nella mia testa era tutto chiaro, nel senso che sapevo che dovevo fare determinate gare, quindi gare di IPED, e poi sarei tornata, però questo non significa che quando sei lì a guardare non ti interessa. Per me è stata una sofferenza non poter partecipare ai mondiali, prima per l'infortunio e poi perché non c'è stato modo, perché comunque fosse per me vorrei fare tutte le gare che ci sono, però purtroppo non è sempre possibile. Per quanto riguarda Sheffield, anche lì insomma la cosa è stata inizialmente un po' sofferta, perché comunque sapevo che sarebbe stato difficile ottenere una wild card, però ho provato con l'unica speranza che avevo attraverso l'Arnold, e quando ho capito che non sarebbe arrivata ho detto va bene, adesso facciamo il mondiale e facciamo in modo di qualificarci diretti, così poi non stiamo lì a pensare arriverà o non arriverà la wild card. Chiaramente è uno stimolo, anche perché nel frattempo i chili sono aumentati tantissimo sul totale, quindi tu sai che quando dovrai tornare dovrai fare di più di quello che di quello che hai fatto, tanto di più di quello che hai fatto 4 anni fa e di più di quello che hai fatto lo scorso anno.
She said it's been really hard staying home during Sheffield. She tried to get a wild card by competing at the Arnolds in Europe, in the UK. And when she realized there was no chance to go, it's been hard. And I remember it. And but she said it's really like it gives you the strength to do more, to train better. And the world record total, which grows and grows and grows, it's a, non mi viene mai come si dice qua la parola,
Quale?
Stimolante.
Motivated.
Yeah, it's motivating. Yeah, it's motivating. Che altro avevi detto poi?
E che quindi diciamo l'obiettivo poi era diventato fare il mondiale e di conseguenza prendere la qualifica diretta senza diciamo aspettare.
So the goal in that moment, the goal switched to winning Worlds and getting that invite to Sheffield without shortcuts.
And you really made a powerful statement at the World Championships. And breaking the world record was huge as well. I mean, you won comfortably at the World Championships as well. And now that you are going to Sheffield, so we're talking about the growth of powerlifting in Italy and how the attention that comes with winning and winning big, and all the different media that's there that sees this. Going to Sheffield, how does she feel this will impact powerlifting in Italy? Because Sheffield was, the amount of views that it got was just insane. The amount of hype it got was just insane. And all of the videos that were created, Road to Sheffield, there was a lot of content created for it on Instagram and YouTube and podcasts and stuff leading into it. But this year is going to be so much bigger. It's the event. Sheffield is going to be a lot bigger, but also all of the hype around it and the digital assets. I don't know if you'll understand what I'm saying, but like the content created is going to be so much more leading into this Sheffield, and what that might do to impact powerlifting in Italy. Carola has really become a bit of a beacon of light to bring people in from Italy. Does she feel that? Does she feel like her winning a world title, her going to Sheffield, representing Italy at Sheffield, and she will bring in viewers from Italy? And does she feel that? Is it pressure? Is it motivating? Can she tell when she shows up at national championships, etc.? Are people like, oh, we know who you are, you're Carola Garra?
Ok, mi ha chiesto che ne penso del fatto di quale impatto avrà Sheffield in
La
Italia.
tua partecipazione a Sheffield, visto che sarà
molto
capita premessa.
Sì, io credo che l'impatto che in questo momento Sheffield dà sul mondo del powerlifting è probabilmente il più grande a cui assistiamo tuttora e a cui assisteremo, probabilmente di più dei mondiali, per quanto appunto lavoro c'è intorno e hype si crea intorno a questa competizione. Io ricordo che già nel 2019, che appunto la situazione era molto diversa, le persone in Italia, le persone che seguono il powerlifting in Italia, avevano un hype stratosferico e tante persone avevano comprato i biglietti per venire a Sheffield dall'Italia, quindi chiaramente avere una persona della propria nazionalità che partecipa fa crescere questo senso di nazionalità e quindi fa crescere poi tutto il contesto del powerlifting, e per cui figuriamoci adesso dopo 4 anni che non si può neanche paragonare tutto quello che c'è adesso intorno rispetto a quello che era stato nel primo anno, che poi non si è concluso. Quindi credo che questa cosa qui spingerà ancora più persone a fare bene, ad esserci, anche a venire a vedere questa competizione.
She feels Sheffield is substantially bigger than Worlds, for sure, and probably bigger than everything else. We don't know what's going to happen with the World Games when they will make it classic and equipped. But for now, it's the biggest thing in powerlifting history, probably, for sure. But she remembers the 2019 edition, and she remembers 2020 edition, and she remembers that a lot of people bought the tickets to go there, and the difference since then is amazing. And it's absolutely motivating. It's absolutely incredible to know that people will know more about powerlifting in Italy, thanks to her invite to Sheffield and to her presence to Sheffield at Sheffield, and that's that feels amazing.
She had mentioned how, and we knew she was dealing with some injuries previously. What were those injuries? Because she was hampered at Arnold Classic, and it was interesting because at IPF Worlds, when she came out to deadlift, I remember live on the air be like, "Oh, hang on, I didn't think she was conventional before." And most people, when they do a switch, when they've been powerlifting for so long, and you switch something like conventional to sumo or sumo to conventional, that's big. That's not small, and it usually takes some time to adjust. But she hit a PR. So maybe if she could discuss just a little bit what those injuries were, how they impacted her performance, the switch from sumo to conventional, um, and how that went about, and if she's decided, you know what, I think I'm actually better at conventional, and if she's going to actually do conventional moving forward.
Vuoi che faccio dei pezzettini?
Sì,
Ok.
sì, dei pezzettini.
Allora, l'infortunio è stato uno strappo, una lesione di secondo grado al bicipite femorale. Il primo piuttosto importante 2 anni fa, era uno strappo di 5 centimetri che mi ha tenuta praticamente ferma per 2 mesi. E poi da lì ho recuperato, ho provato di nuovo a fare sumo finché non mi sono fatta male di nuovo all'Arnold nello stesso punto.
The first injury was a hamstring tear, pretty severe injury, let's say. It was about 5 centimeters, so pretty big.
Yeah, that's huge.
In a lower portion near the knee, and she healed up and tried again. But as you all know, and as you all have seen, she injured herself again. And then she tried to...
E dopo quindi abbiamo capito che probabilmente la via del sumo non era più percorribile, in quanto la sensazione era sempre quella di fragilità, di potersi fare male nuovamente, e quindi inizialmente un po' al buio siamo passati al classic, perché era sostanzialmente l'unica via possibile per non rischiare di infortunarsi nuovamente, e poi fortunatamente ha funzionato bene, perché alla fine sono riuscita a recuperare quei chili inizialmente mancanti e fare una buonissima preparazione, e quindi poi avere nella testa di poter fare addirittura un PR.
Then we decided to switch to conventional, as it was the only way to, be like consistent in training without hurting yourself. And the things went at the end of the road pretty well. She managed to get back all those fundamental kilos she needs to total around the world record, even if it's not the best deadlift she can do probably in life. But to be honest, at the beginning she used to pull conventional. So at the beginning, maybe the first international first 2 years she used to deadlift conventional. At the moment she cannot really deadlift sumo, or maybe she could, but that's a risk.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be risking when you have to prepare and do stuff like Sheffield and Worlds again, and then probably a qualification for the World Games, and probably the first classic World Games in history. And who knows? In my opinion, she's likely to get all of the titles in powerlifting existing in powerlifting, and I mean classic worlds, equipped worlds, World Games equipped, World Games Classic, and who knows, Sheffield? Who knows?
The thing with Sheffield, so it's kind of odd in that, like, obviously Sheffield is the percentage of which you break the world record. So that's different. It's not based off of points. It's a different type of system, which is good. It allows a little bit of a change up for everybody. Looking at the world records, though, the 63 kilo world record is higher than the 69 kilo world record, which is rare that a lighter weight class would be higher. So going into Sheffield, Carola, are you thinking you go 63? So you have to cut weight, or I don't know how much weight you have to cut, but nevertheless, you have to be 63 and have a higher world record you have to go for? Or do you think you're going to go 69 kilo class? You can weigh in a little more. You don't have to fill out 69. You could be like Lya at 65 or whatever. And the total world record you have to break is lower, so your chances are higher. As well as in terms of a viewer, I could tell you right now, if Lya goes 69, you go 69, and you're in the same weight class, far more exciting. Head to head is always more exciting than not. And you guys are going to push each other so far, in terms of sports rivals. It's amazing to watch. It's probably one of the best. It would be probably one of the best showdowns to watch in all of powerlifting, if not the best, if I'm honest. And I think your world championship performance has relit that fire. We knew you guys were close. You and Lya were close, but I don't think people realized how close until the world championships in Malta. And now that happened, I think people are like, oh my gosh, they are right neck and neck. This is the type of thing that's like sports fans love when an event's coming up. You're like, I don't know who's going to win. It's very rare. We had that in Jad up versus Natalie. You have it here and there, but this might be the best because Natalie was new to worlds. You've won multiple world championships. Lya has won multiple world championships. This is like a legend versus a legend in your prime. So it's special. So anyways, with all that being said, what path do you plan on doing when you go to Sheffield?
Mi chiede quella domanda là.
Vabbè, tutto il preambolo
sì,
l'hai
questo
capito,
l'ho capito.
No? Sì, ti ha chiesto che cosa pensi di fare a Sheffield.
Chiaramente ci stiamo pensando perché appunto essendo la classifica in quel modo lì è chiaramente molto più diciamo semplice alzare il record in 69 piuttosto che in 63 essendo più basso, però comunque ci stiamo pensando innanzitutto perché comunque non ci scordiamo che c'è l'europeo prima di Sheffield e io non posso sapere cosa succederà all'europeo, nel senso se quel record verrà alzato o meno, e poi comunque perché essendo che oltre alla classifica sul totale contano anche i record, nel senso che comunque vai lì anche per alzare i vari record delle alzate, sicuramente essere in due a cercare di alzare un record è più difficile che essere da sola. Ci stiamo pensando, sicuramente l'hype che si crea intorno alla sfida da fuori immagino sia pazzesco, ma anche da dentro è chiaramente molto stimolante.
We're thinking about it. It's clear that the world record is lower in the 69 class. And as you said, at Sheffield, you win if you increase the world record more than the other athletes. So it's simple. It's nothing really strange or difficult. But we don't know what's going to happen from now to Sheffield. We have European championships, and who knows what happens in 69 class at Euros, you can't tell. You basically can't tell. We'll see. Che altro avevi detto poi?
La cosa dei record di nelle due categorie, che se sei da solo nella categoria, ok, magari nella classifica, se facessi la 63 la classifica generale sarebbe più bassa, però hai chiaramente più probabilità di alzare il record da sola piuttosto che...
Nothing she said, like if she will compete at Sheffield in like a 63, she will be not alone, but kind of alone, and she could focus on the squat world record, the bench press world record, and the total, obviously, world record. And that's, you know, that's money. When you have two people in one class, you have to fight for the single lift records too, and that's money. With that being said, it's gonna be absolutely amazing, the hype around the battle of the 69s. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you're right. It's a tough decision. I forget if Sheffield is, if you break the record, like a single record, let's say squat or bench, and somebody comes behind you and breaks the record, they get the money and you do not, right? I can't remember now.
Yeah.
I guess so.
I would have to double check that now. And it also changes. So I'd have to double check if that changed. But that's a good point. Because if you're there solo in the 63s, you don't have to worry about that, if that is the case. Whereas if you go 69 kilo class, now you have to worry about that. Now it's like, oh, somebody's going to come behind me possibly, and we could be, yeah, I didn't even think about that in terms of, however, is it enticing having somebody else there at the same time? Like Lya is a huge star in powerlifting, so the amount of people watching and the hype that it brings, if it's a showdown, champion versus champion, is that also an enticement to be like, whoa, it'd be big to be a part of that as well?
Ma lo sai che io non so quella parola. Could you please repeat the word?
Is it enticing? Is it motivating? If because if she goes in the class the same as Lya, and Lya has a lot of people watching, she's a star, so it makes it more people watching, more hype. So there's that factor too. If it's head to head, is that a motivator for her, or is she more focused on her own goals and it's not as big a motivating factor?
Sì, chiaramente se guardiamo quel lato lì è chiaro che conviene andare a cercare la sfida, cioè andare in ogni caso a cercare la sfida con Lya, perché sicuramente si crea un hype e di conseguenza poi una visibilità maggiore. Però per come sono fatta do importanza sia a una che all'altra cosa. E di conseguenza ancora c'è da pensarci un pochino su quello che si farà.
She said that it's absolutely true, and literally what she said is convenient to go for the battle of the 69s. That's what she said. But she also said we're thinking about it and we have to see what happens. And the other, let's say, opportunity is to be considered anyhow. But absolutely, fighting Lya will be amazing and will be probably the best thing, like commercially, you can do.
Oh yeah. It's here. If you look at it like this, you're both world champions several times over. You're both legends. You have nothing to lose in terms of, like, if you clash at Sheffield, nobody will be like, oh, if you come in second, or if she comes in second, no one's like, oh, okay, they're not as good. No, your resume is already established. It's already done. You know, like Carola's won world titles in equipment, out of equipment, world games. So really it's just, how big can we make this? How big of an event? So when we look back at our resumes and all your experiences, it would be like, I was involved in maybe the biggest showdown of women's powerlifting ever, because it's Sheffield and it's Lya, and then it's you who has an amazing resume. So it's like you have an opportunity to make that happen. And I'm a boxing fan, and oftentimes matchups and showdowns don't always happen in two athletes' primes. Or there's like something like, for instance, in Arnold Classic, you were injured. We kind of knew you were injured. And like things happen that make it not happen. Worlds in 2022, Lya didn't make it. And just certain unexpected things happen that'll take it away. So sometimes when that opportunity comes, it doesn't always come around twice. It sometimes is like that was the moment that we could have really made history and blew it up and brought people in. So it'd be a special moment anyways. But to your point, you got to see how things unfold and think about it really. I don't think anyone will take the 69 kilo world record because Lya purposely did not do it, and I don't think anyone else is close enough, if I'm honest. Not at Euros, I don't think, unless there's somebody I'm not thinking about, but we'll see how it plays out. But it'd be exciting. Whatever you decide, it's going to be an amazing time, I'm sure. I also wanted to talk about the World Games experience, because now World Games has gone classic and everybody's super excited about that. And we've seen what, like we talked about earlier, the difference between equipped worlds and classic worlds, the amount of extra media attention that classic worlds gets compared to equipped worlds. And even as a federation in sport, the IPF before equipped was much smaller. After or before classic, sorry, was much smaller. And after it went classic, it just the growth has been huge. So maybe if we talk a little bit about her experience at World Games, because it's fairly new to everyone in the classic. We've seen the opening ceremonies, which are amazing, the athlete compounds, meeting different athletes from different sports, and how unique an experience that was, and what might happen now that the World Games is classic. And when the World Games now has you go back to it, for you'll be back. You might be back in classic, and but then now we'll also have like Jesus Oliveras there, Lya Bavoil there possibly, and all these other stars start showing up. What that might do to powerlifting when World Games and everyone at the World Games sees our classic stars show up, and it's the growth we might see. Yeah. So first we'll start off. I know this is kind of like a long question, but her experience with World Games, so people who don't know what it was like, and then what she thinks might happen when the classic people come over.
Ok, prima l'esperienza e poi quello che penso succeda. Allora, i World Games sono una gara completamente diversa rispetto ai mondiali. L'atmosfera che si vive è come quando ti immagini che è proprio quella, è proprio come quella che ti immagini quando andrai alle Olimpiadi. Cioè, se provi a pensarci, ti immagini tipo il villaggio olimpico, atleti di tutto il mondo, di tutti gli sport che fanno parte dei World Games. Quindi c'è un'atmosfera completamente diversa, perché ci sono molte meno persone del powerlifting, quindi una cerchia molto più ristretta, e quindi grosso modo conosci praticamente tutti, però al tempo stesso stai in questo posto gigante con gli atleti di tutto il mondo, di tutti gli altri sport, e l'attenzione che si crea per quella gara lì, dal mio punto di vista, è addirittura maggiore rispetto ai mondiali, perché sai che ci sono una volta ogni 4 anni, perché sai che c'è stata una gara di qualifica, quindi già prima hai dovuto comunque dimostrare qualcosa in quel preciso momento, cioè nel senso puoi anche vincere mondiali per 5 anni di fila, ma se poi quell'anno lì per qualche motivo non li fai fuori gara o quello che è, non ti qualifichi, quindi tutta la tensione che si crea per arrivare in quel momento è grandissima.
The experience was amazing. The place, the Olympic Village it's like an Olympic Village, is huge. You have a town completely, like used to be an Olympic Village. You meet
so cool.
Yeah. It was Alabama, and the whole town was like that. It was a huge village, athletes from all over the world, different sports, and you feel like that like Olympic atmosphere. You know, it's
Mm,
different. It's really different. And as an athlete, uh, you feel it's like everything you do is it's crucial because you have only one opportunity to go in 4 years, which
yeah.
is you can win 5 world titles and then get injured the year you have to qualify, or like you could bomb out and you don't qualify. So it's really hard, and when you're there you feel you have to do well because you probably won't be there next time. Or
Hmm.
maybe you could, but it's not easy.
Yeah, to stay on top in powerlifting for 4 years is crazy. You know, it's another thing too. I just realized as you're talking about it, in a lot of ways, you're representing your nation. So you're representing Italy, but because it's so many different sports and different athletes from different sports and different people watching, you're also representing powerlifting in a way. Like you're an Italian athlete, but you're also a powerlifting athlete, and you're displaying powerlifting on the world stage like that too. So there is like
A
layers on
responsibility.
it. Yeah, it's more, yeah, more responsibility, and it's true that you can have a bad day at a world championship, and that's not great. But every single year there's a world championship. Whereas for some athletes, to win a world title and qualify for world games is very difficult. So you only have one shot every 4 years.
Mhm.
The pressure, like you said, it's way different. You might not come back. You might, but like Carola's that good that she for sure, but it's not a for sure thing for a lot of people. Winning world titles is very, very difficult in qualifying. So, yeah, it's a totally different experience. It sounds cool though. This is as close as we get right now for what an Olympic experience would be like, to have like the big opening ceremonies they have, to have like the athlete village. That sounds crazy. That they would actually have like a village for all the athletes. When the Pan Am Games, which is all this side of the world, North America, South America, Central America, when the Pan Am Games, which is a multi-sport, came to Toronto, um, I was there and I bought tickets for like Olympic weightlifting, wrestling, judo, boxing, and all that. And it's a wild experience. That was the Pan Am Games. World Games is probably similar. World Games might even be bigger. And it is like just a crazy experience. And I was just going as a fan watching. It's a really cool experience. And I think when people from the classic show up, the equipped is good, but I think what Sheffield did for powerlifting, when World Games goes raw classic, it might not be exactly Sheffield because I understand it's different, but there's an opportunity there for massive growth for people who would not normally have seen powerlifting, but they're tuning in or they're there live watching other sports and they stick around for powerlifting, or they
Mhm.
hear about powerlifting and then check it out online, and they see guys like Jesus and like whoever it's going to be, if Russell or he's there or whatever, right? And Carola, Lya, and they hear these showdowns and see these showdowns happen, and they're like, oh my gosh, powerlifting is extremely exciting to watch. Did you see this? Did you hear about that? I think it's just another opportunity for powerlifting to grow. And going back to what we were talking about earlier about the growth we've seen from 2019 or 2015 when Carola first started to 2023, this is just like another step. It's
Yeah.
just one more step. And
And
all of
and
the
when
media that,
World
sorry,
Games,
go ahead.
oh, excuse me,
It,
excuse me.
it yeah. Are we pausing?
No.
Okay, sorry.
You was talking, so
Okay, got
No,
it.
I was just saying that when you go to the World Games, you probably have with the Olympic weightlifting, uh, no more at the Olympics after Paris. I heard you probably have as
They're
a
taking
sport.
out weightlifting.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
Oh wow. Okay.
You probably have maybe the possibility to go beyond the World Games. Who knows?
Well, if we do well, who knows, right? Like if we really, really do well, if it blows up like we think it might, it's a possibility, right? If we do like the big numbers and whatnot, and if you think about all of the media and digital content that could come from it, and then expands from there, just like the World Championships, just like Sheffield, it's a possibility.
yeah.
Mm.
I don't know. Do you guys think it's going to end up in the Olympics?
No, dice se veramente
Vediamo.
che poi può succedere questa cosa.
Beh, allora, il fatto che il Powerlifting Classic sia stato introdotto ai World Games sicuramente è una grossa spinta da questo punto di vista. Chiaramente era una cosa che un po' ci aspettavamo tutti, visto la crescita. Io sinceramente non mi aspettavo che ci sarebbero stati entrambi, pensavo che sarebbe stato tolto l'Equiped, e invece il fatto che ci siano entrambi in realtà è una notizia molto positiva, e sarà una grossa spinta per i World Games. Spero che gli sarà data la giusta importanza a questa competizione, anche per avere un po' questa speranza che possa entrare a far parte delle Olimpiadi.
She said it's a huge step forward, the World Games with classic powerlifting. She didn't think it would have been both, and we all thought it would have been like only classic, and it's both instead. So we're happy about that because we're fans of equipped powerlifting. So we're just like happy about that. That equipped doesn't like die.
You know what? I think that's why they did that, is the fear that if they took equipped out of World Games, it might die.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It might die off. Maybe not entirely, but it won't be as big. And also at World Games, they want to see a representation of countries from around the world. And some countries are more about equipped than they are classic.
Yeah.
So then they have more a global. I think it's more Eastern European is equipped, right?
Yeah.
Like Ukraine
and Norway too, but Norway has amazing classic lifters too, but there's a long equipped culture, let's say.
That's right. Carola, do you want to go back to equipped at some point, or are you going to be classic for here on out?
Per ora faremo sicuramente classic, anche in vista appunto innanzitutto di Sheffield, e poi successivamente per i World Games, che se ci sarà modo proverò a farli classic. Dopodiché vediamo, diciamo che tendo a programmare le cose un po' uno step alla volta ormai, perché quando facevo tanti programmi alla fine andavano un po' in fumo, spesso non per mia volontà.
Classic for now, at least 2 years, and then who knows? She's into equipped, so she put the bench shirt on like yesterday.
Really? Oh, really?
Just for fun. Just for fun. And so probably, most likely, she will be competing equipped again, for sure. Probably not before the World Games. Just like last edition.
Are you saying like when she competed equipped, she had the bench shirt on when she competed, right? Or is that the first time she had the bench shirt on?
Sorry?
Like when she competed at World Games, etc., she had the
Yeah.
bench shirt on, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You mean this is the first she put the bench shirt on for the first time in a while the other day?
Yeah. Yesterday.
Okay. Gotcha. And moving forward, so she's going to stay classic for a couple of years. What are some of her goals? Does she intend to, because she has an opportunity to maybe move up to 69 in the world championships and try to go for 2 world titles, 2 different weight classes? Not a lot of people have done that before. What are some of her goals while competing over the next couple of years?
Diciamo che c'è un fattore, sì, c'è un fattore molto interessante nel muoversi nella categoria sopra, perché comunque dopo tanti anni che fai cose nella 63 è molto stimolante anche avere obiettivi nella categoria superiore, e anche un po' perché ormai è diventata un po' diciamo quasi un passo obbligato, se vogliamo, nel senso che comunque non mi restano tante gare probabilmente in 63 per una questione proprio di peso corporeo, quindi sicuramente stiamo pensando sì a spostarci nella 69, non so se in modo definitivo o comunque a fare qualche gara nella meno 69, sì.
She said she's not many other competitions left in the 63 class, so most likely she will be going up to 69 in the next years, and it will be motivating, but it's more about a lean muscle percentage. It's become really hard to cut weight, or anyways it's harder than before. So at some point you just have to go up and let your body grow more, even if it takes maybe time to allow your body to go and get into another weight class. You cannot become 69 overnight, let's say.
No. Yeah. You could be a small 69. Like Lya was just 65 kilos. You just start there and whatever happens, because they're big weight classes from 63 to 69. Like 6 kilos is a lot. You may never fill that out. How much does she cut to make 63 kilos?
Questo ultimo mondiale in realtà ho fatto in modo di non avere un cut troppo grande, perché il tempo tra il peso e la gara era molto poco, quindi tra quando fai il peso e quando inizi a scaldare di conseguenza non c'era tanto tempo per reintegrare. Ho tagliato circa 1,5 kg, però insomma è stato faticoso fare tutta la preparazione e poi arrivare ad essere soltanto 1,5 kg fuori, altrimenti diciamo che senza fare grosse diete restrittive mi aggiro intorno ai 65-65,5.
The water cut was from 64.5, but she had to diet to stay there, and it's been hard because the weigh-in was pretty close to the competition, as she was a first group, so she not that much time to hydrate and feel better after a cut. But che altro avevi detto?
Che solitamente però diciamo che il peso si aggira sui 65-65,5.
She's usually about 65.5 when she's not dieting or cutting calories like she did for Worlds.
Gotcha. So sometimes we do on the podcast a name game where I'll say a name and you could tell me either one word, 2 words. So like if I say like Jesus Oliveras, you might say world record, or you might say, maybe when you think of him, you think of Sheffield. So you might say Sheffield, or you might even go into like a story or whatever. It's whatever you want it to be. It's just it's loosey goosey. There's no actual rules to it. So I'll say a name. in 1 word, 2 words, story as little or as much as you want to say, you give a reply.
Hai capito? Dice che di solito fanno un gioco per cui lui dice un nome e tu dici una parola, 2 parole in base a quello che ti fa pensare. Tipo, lui ha detto Jesus e tu puoi dire, che ne so, record del mondo o Sheffield. Lui ti dice un nome.
Ok.
Right?
There's no right and wrong answers. It doesn't. But okay. So first one, Chiara Bernardi.
Devo dire usiamo una parola.
Una parola o 2.
Prossima star della 63. No, troppe.
It's 6 words.
That's okay. No, you can do as many words as you want, really, to be honest.
The answer is next 63 star.
Oh wow, she's good. She won Junior Worlds, and the transition for the new bench rule was what I was wondering if she'd be able to adapt, and she's done very well with transitioning to the new bench rule.
Yeah.
And so have you, Carola. We'll go back to the name game in 1 sec, but I also want to ask you, how was that transition for the new bench rule? Was it tough?
Allora, diciamo che per fortuna, nonostante chiaramente la mia panca non gode di un ROM ampissimo, per la regola che hanno messo, quindi che si guardano i gomiti, non ero così tanto distante dalla valida. Ciò nonostante ho dovuto cambiare abbastanza. Inizialmente è stato abbastanza faticoso anche soltanto capire che cosa fare, perché non era sufficiente stringere la presa, diciamo che sostanzialmente dovevi proprio cambiare un po' il tuo setup, quindi ho dovuto fare degli accorgimenti. Inizialmente ho un po' perso sulla panca, sentivo di non essere più in grado di fare quello che facevo prima, però poi insomma lavorandoci bene, piano piano la questione è stata risolta abbastanza bene. Non mi sento chiaramente esattamente come prima, però il risultato è stato positivo.
Even though maybe you wouldn't say, but she was pretty close to death even before the new rules. But she had to work, she had to adapt and to change her setup and bench pressing to adapt. She has been struggling with this new setup, but things came up together and she doesn't feel as good as before, for sure, but it's pretty good for now.
It's remarkable that she hit 557.5 when you think about she changed to the new bench rule and switched from sumo to conventional and put up 557.5. So more time conventional, more time with the bench rule. Who knows what she's going to end up doing, right? But that was a lot of change. Like, that's very impressive considering all those changes you had to do at the world level. It was a pretty good day.
She's been so focused on this competition.
Really,
yeah, she's been thinking about the bench rules, and she was always like, am I deep enough in the squats? What do you think about the deadlifts? Do you think it will work or not? What do you think of this? What do you think of that? And the diet and everything. She's really she's so focused. She's always so focused.
It's the one thing at least about switching to conventional, it's obviously different, but there's less like volatility. When you pull sumo, it can be teetering forward at the top and like things can go wrong. Okay. There could be down up a lot easier. There's down up because there's balance issues because you're spread out. Where at the very least with conventional, it's more consistent. It feels like, because your feet are together, you're more based. So at the very least, there's some pros and cons and you have that when you make the switch. But anyways, we'll see what happens moving forward. So next name, Sam Calhoun.
Posso dire? 2019.
2019.
That's right. That's the same as I was thinking too. It brings you back to 2019, huh? And when I think of 2019 Worlds, everything was so different. We had no idea. So much has changed. But yeah, certain names bring me back when I think of you and Sam Calhoun, anyways. How about Megan Scanlon?
Posso dire imprevedibile.
Unpredictable.
Yeah. She's she's adapting to the bench rule as well, but she's good too as well. Yeah. How about and you can use more than one word, just so you know, by the way, for these Lya Bavoil.
Colei da battere.
The one to beat.
That's the big showdown, right? Is the big yeah. Jesus Oliveira.
The biggest man.
He is. You know what? It's funny because when you look at the super heavyweights, there's even some guys even bigger than him, like Rico Martin. Rico Martin was so big that the scale stopped at 200 kilos, and they don't know how big he is. It stops at 200 kilos, and they're like, well, that's 441 pounds. There are guys, when I walk around the warm-up room, it's crazy how large these men are. It's humbling. It's crazy to see. But yeah, watching him live is pretty cool. Squatting 1,000 pounds and stuff like that. How about Russell Orhey?
Possiamo dire aspetti il suo ritorno, quello che pensi ritornerà.
The one you're gonna be waiting for in the future, you know. She said something like the one you're waiting to come back.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, can you imagine? I do miss Russ having, like, I could still watch him on streams and stuff, but I do miss Russ being at IPF Worlds, and seeing him around and having him around, and picturing Russ at like an event like Sheffield would be crazy. And all of the people he brings in terms of viewership, I think would be bigger. And yeah, IPF Worlds has massive views. Sheffield has massive views already. So if he came, no, it's just bigger and bigger and bigger, right? We're stronger together if we're all under the same roof. But yeah, we'll see. Who knows? Maybe he's back. Panagiotis.
Hai capito chi?
Sì. Possiamo dire volevo dire quel portabandiere della Francia, è colui che ha mosso il powerlifting in Francia, come si può dire.
Duro, cioè importante.
È vero.
Com'ha Dimo? Who moved powerlifting in France?
Yeah, it was there's a lot of parallels to what happened in France and what's happening now in Italy. There's parallels to it, and you could almost see the pathway. What they did were like Penna. You guys are talking about coaching in Italy getting bigger and bigger, and social media helping. And Penna initially took online classes with Mike T from RTS. You know Mike T, and he was learning about it. And because people in France previously just spoke French, not a lot of English, so not a lot of the training protocols and training ideas came into France. And then Penna, Coco Clement were like, let's bring them in. So they took these online classes with Mike T, brought it over. And then with like social media, they're really good at social media over there, right? So it helps make it more and more popular, etc. But So yeah, to your point, his story was crazy leading into this world championships with his dad being sick. He was nominated fourth, and for him to win, his story is crazy. But I can see parallels happening, what happened in France over in Italy. That's why hopefully with Sheffield coming around and when they make all these Sheffield shows and all of that kind of content, it's gonna get bigger and bigger and bigger. And Carola's gonna be a part of that. This is I'm glad you guys are on the podcast and I'll help out as much as I can to try to make this bigger and bigger as well.
Thank you.
One more name on the list. Carola Garra.
Non lo so. I don't know.
It's tough. That's the toughest, right?
That's can I say that's the most frightening name you've said for her.
Probably. It's I know. How do you summarize yourself or your thoughts? Yeah.
Come ha detto se
Come
ti identifico?
sì, devi dire una parola, due parole.
Persistere.
Oddio, come si dice?
Cerco.
Credo che sia
Ti
più
spiego che
semplice.
sono.
We're searching for the translation of this word.
Persistente, forse.
Persistere.
Persist.
Persist. Gotcha. That's a good one. And here's, you know what? Let's do a quick follow-up. How about this one as well? One more name, okay? 2019 Carola Garra.
Forte ma vulnerabile.
Strong but vulnerable.
That's interesting. What makes her say that?
Perché ho detto così?
Che cosa ti fa dire questo?
Diciamo che ho sempre potuto puntare sulla mia forza fisica durante la gara e probabilmente anche forza mentale durante tutta la preparazione e gli allenamenti, ma ci ho messo un po' di anni per diventare forte anche psicologicamente in gara, quindi probabilmente i più grandi passi avanti che ho fatto negli ultimi anni è stato proprio migliorare quel mio aspetto durante le gare e complici anche tutte le vicissitudini che ci sono state.
Let's say the most relevant progress she's made in the last years, it's about her mental approach and mental let's say strength during the competition. So she's really mentally strong during the preparation. She's physically strong during the competition since always, and you all can see that, but it's been a long journey to get to a right mentality during the competition.
Yeah,
she had to struggle to get that,
and that's what like experience brings, right? Every time you do something, you gain a little experience, and then it's not as scary every time, and you learn from it. Yeah. You can read articles, you can watch videos, but it's not the same as actually doing it and experiencing it. Only time brings you that. And to that point, maybe Sheffield's happening at exactly the right time.
Yeah.
Sheffield's so big. And when you show up, some people showed up and they're like, oh my gosh, when they seen the crowd and everything, Garra's going to be ready for that now. It's happening at the perfect time.
bisogna prepararsi bene anche da quel punto di vista. La preparazione poi comprende anche avere in testa che sarà un evento incredibile, che entrerà in pedana e sarà diverso dalle altre volte che entrerà in pedana.
Preparation will have to also be about being ready to that kind of audience, that kind of situation, that kind of feeling with so many people and so much tension, so much hype. And preparation will also be about that, for sure.
It's going to be an amazing experience. And yeah, I'm glad you're going to get to experience it. And the first one was wild. The next one's going to be even bigger. And take it all in. Take it all in, because it happens so quickly. Time flies by so quickly. I don't have to tell you guys that. But listen, I appreciate you guys coming on the podcast. The door is always open. You guys want me? Slide in my DMs. I'll help you out however I can. I got your back. Thank you very much. And we'll be in touch. We'll be in touch. And for everybody listening, please do give us high ratings and subscribe or whatever platform you're listening on. Until next time, 6-pack Lapadat, 6 up, and we are out.